Did you know that the accounting teams in large companies prepare thousands of balance sheet reconciliations per month? Why so many? Because global and national companies often have many legal entities that require separate reconciliations. Even small companies prepare balance sheet reconciliations every month. In medium and large companies, it takes a significant amount of time to prepare the reconciliations and then review and approve them. Some companies use software to help with that process, while others continue to use the software accountants love best, Microsoft Excel. In my experience as controller and head of accounting and finance, I've found that there are always more efficient and effective methods to organizing the process. In this video, we'll discuss the top 5 mistakes I've seen when accounts are preparing balance sheet reconciliations. But before we jump in, let's quickly talk about why these reconciliations are so important. Balance sheet reconciliations are a critical step in ensuring the accuracy and reliability of financial statements. Without the reconciliations, you really only know the account balance, the debits and credits in the account, but you don't really know what the balance represents. You don't even know if the balance is correct and represents the true financial position of the company. Balance sheet reconciliations highlight potential errors and inconsistencies that need to be resolved before the financial statements are published. Without the reconciliations, the account balance is just a number without any support or backup, and as an investor, you wouldn't really know if you could trust the financial statements. And trust me, as an investor, you'd want more than just a number. You'd want proof that it's trustworthy. This is why internal controls and SOX controls always have reconciliation requirements. And of course, auditors love them too. They want to make sure everything's in order before they sign off. Now that we know why reconciliations are critical to the financial statement accuracy, let's look at the top 5 mistakes to avoid when preparing balance sheet reconciliations. Ready? Here we go. The top 5 mistakes to avoid are 1, not having a proper infrastructure in place, 2, having inconsistent approaches or processes, 3, not completing detailed reviews and action items, 4, insufficient subledger and backup support, and 5, unresolved variances. What do you think about this list? Others you would add? Well, let's look at each one of these in more detail. Imagine trying to build a house without a solid foundation. Sounds like a disaster, right? That's what happens when you don't have a proper infrastructure for your balance sheet reconciliations. Here's what's important: policies, procedures, internal controls, and of course, SOX controls. These are your blueprint for a successful process. You need to make sure that reconciliations happen on a set schedule, monthly, quarterly, or annually, depending on the account. They need to be reviewed and approved, and any discrepancies need to be resolved fast. Now, here's where it gets very interesting: KPIs. Key performance indicators help track the success of your reconciliations. Think of them like fitness goals for your process: the number of reconciliations, the frequency, unresolved variances, time to complete, day of the close that they're completed, you name it. And as they say, what gets measured improves, and what gets measured and reported improves exponentially. Your infrastructure should also include things like updated desktop procedures, a balance sheet tracker, and those balance sheet reconciliation templates. Trust me, consistency in templates is a game changer. They save time and make it so much easier for everyone to follow the same process. The next mistake is a classic: inconsistent approaches. Think about it. If every time you make a cup of coffee, you use a different method, one time you'll end up with burnt coffee, the next time underbrewed. Reconciliation processes need consistency too. Most companies set requirements for accounts to be reconciled monthly. These accounts need to have a material account balance and/or activity. Many reconciliations, though, don't meet those requirements and should be reconciled less frequently. You might say it only takes a really small amount of time to reconcile the account. I'd rather do it monthly. That is where the efficiencies come in. I know. It's only 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there, but trust me, that applies to every accountant. And before you know it, you're looking at 100 plus hours across a large accounting team. It's the difference between going home after 10 hours rather than 12 hours during a busy day. It makes your work more effective and efficient. In one company I worked for, we did a time study to identify where we were spending most of our time as a national organization with hundreds of accountants. The time study was not popular, but we started with a 2-week pilot, and the results from that pilot were stunning. And when we completed the 3 months time study, we were finally able to establish metrics around the work we produced and get approval for many accounting system improvements that we had been waiting for years. In addition, it gave us enough proof to work on getting the outsourced work back to our team. But that's a story for another day. Here are a few more areas to watch out for. Math errors, for instance, definitely a no-go. Also, when the subledger does not tie to the general ledger. If you're reconciling early during the month close, always double check that there are no late entries that threw off your numbers. A balance sheet tracker is your best friend here. This one's big. Don't just check the boxes. Preparing reconciliations is not a robot job. So don't just fill in the fields and move on. It's about due diligence here. Like, does it actually make sense? For instance, the account prepares a prepaid trade show balance sheet account reconciliation, and the reconciliation has various prepaid amounts for trade shows. One of the prepaid amounts is for an August trade show, but the reconciliation is for September. The accountant should ask why this amount is still sitting on the balance sheet. Was the trade show postponed or canceled? During COVID, that happened quite often. At the very least, some research is needed and the information on the reconciliation support should be updated. Don't let things slide without digging in. A frequent one of my pet peeves in reviewing reconciliations was that the reconciliation did not actually explain what the balance represented. The reconciliation should be very clear and precise, not a listing of ins and outs out of the account. Be sure that you understand the activity and the balance. You should be able to say, for instance, for the example of the prepaid account, the balance in this account represents 3 deposits for trade shows that are expected to occur in January, March, and June. Also, don't forget about the action items. If something's off, track it. Be sure to list out what you'll do to resolve it and keep your timeline in mind. And if you're the reviewer, make sure you're reviewing the right way, not just giving a cursory glance. As a reviewer, you're the last line of defense against errors in the balance sheet, and you should take that responsibility seriously. Another area of mistakes to avoid when preparing balance sheet account reconciliations is insufficient subledger or backup support. That includes when the subledger does not tie to the general ledger or the subledger is manually prepared as a roll forward. Roll forward reconciliation should not be your subledger support. Sometimes a roll forward is prepared as an additional schedule to track the type of activity in an account, but it should not be your subledger support. Along the same lines, you cannot use your journal entry as your support. There should be support for your journal entry, and perhaps that is sufficient support for your reconciliation, but you should not attach a journal entry as support. Also, a pet peeve of mine is when clearly there is additional support, like a rental agreement for rent deposits, but the reconciliation does not include a link or a file location to where the rental agreement can be found. That brings us to the last of the top 5 errors to avoid when preparing balance sheet reconciliations, which is unresolved variances. You should differentiate between reconciled variances and unreconciled variances. Reconciled variances occur, for instance, when an amount that should have been coded to the account you're reconciling ended up in another account. The accounting period for which you're reconciling the account is already closed, and you have recorded an adjusting entry in the next period. So you know the variance, and you know that it will be fixed in the next accounting period. That is a reconciled variance, and you would list it as such on the balance sheet reconciliation. In contrast, an unreconciled variance occurs when the subledger does not agree with the general ledger balance and you don't yet know why it does not balance. If it is a material variance, you need to escalate it and figure out how to resolve it before the financial statements are published. If it isn't material, then you'll list it as an unreconciled variance that needs to be researched. That brings me to another item that would at times irritate me when reviewing reconciliations, which is research is not completed and the reconciliation does not list a timeline for resolving unreconciled variances. As I previously mentioned, variances should be tracked on the KPI tracker, so the accounting team is very transparent in terms of where issues exist. All right, there you have it, the top 5 areas of mistakes to avoid when reconciling the balance sheet. 1, not having a proper infrastructure in place. 2, having inconsistent approaches or processes. 3, not completing detailed reviews and action items. 4, insufficient subledger and backup support. And 5, unresolved variances. The takeaway: make sure you have the right systems in place, stay consistent, and always question the numbers.